Today, we break down for you the Zap Miner Attack. We explain everything from using the lightning spells, how to create the funnel, and how to control your miners within this guide. First things first, let's talk about the lightning spells and the basic to advanced things that you can do with the lightning in a Zap Miner. What you want to understand is you want to look for defenses around the clan castle. Something that looks like this is a great idea. By getting rid of stuff like the Expo and the Archer Tower along with the Sweeper can obviously create some nice pathing for the miners when you start to roll them out. By making sure that you're able to get rid of buildings like this, you're going to be able to give yourself enough value. However, you need to know how many lightning spells that you need for those structures. So on screen, you're going to see the number of lightning spells that you need for each defense. This is going to help you when you're doing or when you're using the lightning spells, because you don't always just want to place them just in between buildings. You want to make sure that they're still touching they're still touching the clan castle, but they're also touching other structures. That way the earthquake, because it has a large radius, it's going to be able to weaken a lot of structures around there. So for instance, something that you'll see here is basically using the lightning spells a little bit more strategically placed. This is a little bit more of an advanced tech by using the lightning spells over the Expo, 4 lightning over that, and 2 over the Archer Tower, and still touching the Eagle or still touching the clan castle. We're able to weaken those buildings up just enough so in order for us to get down those buildings. So try to slow it down if you're going to be using the Zapquake, and try to see if you can get a lot of value within the earthquake radius, and that way you're getting a lot more value than just using it in between the clan castle and other defenses. Another thing that you may want to consider is if the clan castle is either lurable or towards the outside of the base, it's a better idea to go ahead and use the lightning spells on the Eagle artillery. However, I would not recommend this, and I would recommend just using it on the clan castle more often than not, as it's going to provide you with more value rather than just going for the Eagle artillery all the time with the lightning spells. If you're going to be doing that, in that case you would be bringing 7 lightning spells and 1 earthquake. After deploying your Zapquake, you then want to consider creating part 1 of your funnel. This is where a Queen Charge or Queen Walk can come into play. They're both interchangeable, which means that you can either use a Queen Charge or Queen Walk as long as you have wall breakers in your army composition. That way you're always ready for when to use a Queen Charge or Queen Walk. In this base design here, it gives you an example of using a Queen Charge. By using the lightning spells over the clan castle where we placed it, we're able to funnel out this particular side. However, we need to extend that way it's not just a U shape here, and it becomes more like an L shape. So we want to make sure that what we're doing is getting rid of the multi-target inferno. What we're going to be doing is by first starting out by creating the funnel on either side. This is by using a couple balloons or a baby dragon, and using a couple wizards or a Valkyrie to kind of help supplement this part of the funnel here, and making sure that the queen is able to work herself in. Now during this time, you should also be using the siege barrack and the king on the other side to create the funnel. You can see here that we have the queen walking in one direction, getting rid of the multi-target inferno, while using the king and the siege barrack over on this side. That way we can create the other side of the funnel. That way we can send our miners straight into the base. It's very important that you understand this, as you're going to be using the Queen Charge more often than not when there are defenses that you need to get down to create that L-shaped pathing like I mentioned. So you want to make sure that you're able to charge in using wall breakers or super wall breakers in order to make it easier for your miners. Now, if you're going to be adding a Queen Walk over a charge, you may want to consider a couple factors. First and foremost, you want to try to just look for defenses or regular buildings like trash buildings on the outside of the base that you can just clear out. You then want to use the king on the other side of the funnel, not just to funnel the queen, but also to make sure that you're creating a funnel for the miners on the other side. Typically what I mean by this is by making sure that you're able to get rid of this part of the base here with the queen, and using the king over on this side is going to allow you to instantly create the funnel right in for that Eagle artillery. So to start off, what you want to consider doing is by using a couple balloons if there are defenses on the outside and a baby dragon. This is going to help clear one particular section of the base, and this is also very valuable if you're going to be doing a charge as well. You want to be very flexible if you're going to be doing this, so you want to know how to funnel that queen so she can move in. Another thing that you're doing while you're doing this is you would then be able to deploy your king to create the other side of the funnel. And that way you're going to easily be able to get the queen to go in the right direction. That way she's able to create one particular side, and then allowing the king to create the other side of the funnel. Another thing that you want to take a look at are stuff like these. Dead zones are very important as they are areas where there are no defensive buildings. Take advantage of these because you will be seeing them in some base designs. You want to make sure that you're able to get the miners to go right in for particular structures, and that way they're moving in this way instead of splitting across the base. And by using the king on the other side and the siege barrack, you're going to be able to create the other side of the funnel in order for you to set the funnel for the miners so they don't go on the outside. That gives you guys an idea of what you should be doing with a queen walk and queen charge in order to make sure that you're creating one side of the funnel. Now, using a Sui hero instead of a queen walk and queen charge is usually going to depend on the base. More often than not, this depends on the layout of the base. This example is on a more rectangular style of base. This means that you want to try and take a look and getting rid of a small portion of the base after you've gotten rid of a little part of it using the Zapquake. What you're going to be able to do is by creating one side of the funnel here by using the king and queen, and the other side of the funnel by using the siege barrack, you're able to send in your miners mostly into this part of the base as the pathing has been naturally created for you. These are the type of bases that I would recommend using the Sui hero on over using something like a queen charge or queen walk. So typically how you want this to work is you want to start off by using the king and queen. The king is going to be here to create create pathing and tank for the queen, while the queen is going to be able to pick off defenses over the walls like the bomb tower and the elixir storage. So you just want to consider those small things. Another thing that you want to do during this time is to also use the siege barrack in order to create the other side of the funnel. Just like how I mentioned the use of the queen walk and queen charge, you want to use the siege barrack in tune with them as you start to send the miners in. And you can see that we're already actively creating a funnel, and that way the miners can move into the base. That just gives you and sums up one of the biggest parts when using a Sui hero. More often than not though, I would recommend this if you're going to be farming, because more often than not, just using a mass amount of miners while getting rid of the clan castle with the lightning spells, it's going to be very easy for you to do. However, a queen charge and queen walk are always going to be a better option if you're going to be doing the mass miner format. Now, creating the other side of the funnel alongside the Sui hero, queen walk, and queen charge is another important thing I want to highlight. The biggest thing that you want to understand is that if you don't have access to the siege barrack, use the king instead. You're going to be able to create one particular side of the funnel. Like you see here on this base design, we're doing just that by making sure that the queen charge is going smoothly, and that way we're able to send in our miners for these related structures, and that way we're able to use the king in order to pick off all of these buildings along here, making it easier for our miners. However, you also want to make sure that what you're doing is you are allowing yourself to create the other side of the funnel by also adding the siege barrack. You can do this by making sure that you use the king to kind of take down some of the buildings, and then right behind, you can use the siege barrack in order to make it easier for your attack. This is just one way of making sure that you're able to control your miners to move into the base. Whether you're farming or trophy pushing or even just in war, you want to make sure that you use the siege barrack or the king in order to create that funnel. Now, after creating either side of the funnel, it would then be time to start sending in your miners. Remember that you want to make sure that the miners have easy pathing into the base in order to make it easier for them to start moving themselves right through it. You also want to make sure that you know when to use the heal and warden ability, which we're going to be explaining here. So starting off, we want to make sure that we explain to you what you should charge into, whether this be a multi-target inferno or or the Eagle Artillery like you see here, we want to make sure that we're charging into that first. Now, of course, you can use the first heal spell over the Eagle Artillery in order to make sure that the miners are sticking through that. Once they get outside the heal range, you can either do one of two things. Drop in another heal spell while using the Warren ability at the last moment on the back end, or you can go ahead and use that Warren ability just that little bit earlier. But you can see that as we're moving through, we want to make sure that we have enough heal spells. And in this case here, we have 3 heals over 2. That way what we're able to do is use the heal spells through the other defenses like the multi-target Inferno and the Wizard Towers. The Hog Riders are here because they're providing a lot more support for the rest of our attack as we push in. We also want to use the Warren ability as they get out of that final heal spell. That way they're able to provide more, that way the Warren ability provides more support for the miners as they push through the back end. You may have also noticed the healers on the miners. This is what's known as a healer swap. When the queen dies, the healers may switch over to the miners, which can actually be a huge buff for your attack. So try to consider making sure that if the queen does die, the healers can move over to the miners, and that way they're able to keep them alive throughout the entire attack. This just gives you guys a good idea of how you guys can use the miners with the lightning spells to have a lot of success in farming and in war as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this video and on the Zap Miner attack. Did this video help you understand how you guys can use this and what you guys can do in order to be more successful? Another thing is, remember to join my Discord server. The link to that is in the description below. But with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.